And our next question, and this is a lengthy question, so please, if you need it repeated, feel free to ask, because this question has some length to it. There are widespread concerns that the city is operating under a deficit budget. For those currently in office, why didn't you propose amendments to balance the budget? And for those not currently serving, what changes would you have advocated to produce a more balanced budget and fiscally responsible budget? Let me repeat that. There are widespread concerns that the city is operating under a deficit budget. For those currently in office, why didn't you propose amendments to balance the budget? And for those not currently serving, what changes would you have advocated to produce a more balanced and fiscally responsible budget? And we will start with Mr. Felshaw.
1 minute. We have had a deficit budget for the last 3 budgets, 23, 24, 25. Now, when I say a deficit, I'm saying operational expenditures are exceeding operational revenue. And if you look in the budget, it says in there revenue deficit for this year, 3.5 million. You have to know that in the past, what we would do is we would overestimate our expenditures, underestimate our revenue, so that when you came to the end of the budget cycle, you're able to balance. For example, you may budget for 1,300 employees, but you only hire 1,250, and then you underestimate your revenue, so that when you come to the end, you're there. And that's why, if you'll look at it, we always had a balance. I mean, we had a budget fund balance strong, and it would close out the same. Strong, close out the same. It's because of that. Now, know this, over these last 3, I have spoke up. The 23, I raised my hand, got a problem. 24, I raised my hand, said I got a problem. 25, I raised my hand, I said I vote no.
Mr. Jones.
One of the things that we should have and could do differently is, like the charter says, not approve expenditures over 20% of your budget. That's the charter. Whether you get it from the general fund or the fund balance, the charter says not to produce or provide a budget more than what you are bringing in. 20% of our revenues. Again, I said earlier today, one of the main ways that we will resolve a lot of these issues is bringing in and attracting revenue into our city. We will be able to at least address our infrastructure problem, and it's not just sewer. We go into restaurants and we can smell it. We go into our homes and we can smell it. I mean, it's not just us, right? And you can't attract businesses or keep people in those conditions.
Time. Mrs. Mouton.
Yes, okay, the city operates from 3 streams of revenue. The general fund is required by charter to keep a 20% fund balance. Right now, that fund balance has $5 million over what is required. Also, the enterprise revenue fund, both have doubled. In the past year, the deficit was 6.5. It is trending down to 3.5. So to say that it's a deficit, it is a deficit that's trending down. However, both of the fund balances are, the enterprise has doubled and the general fund balance has a $5 million overage. So I just believe that the way it's being said is said one way, but truly it's not the way it's being said.
Time. Mr. Paredes.
Okay, you hear how the city's in great shape and we have $20 million, but in reality the city is over $200 million in debt. And I will prove this because if the city's in great shape, why did my taxes just go up? Your taxes went up, okay? So that tells you, well, they're needing more money for this, for that. Okay, not just taxes, but fees, and I believe the current administration has raised more fees than any other administration in history. I believe like something like $200 separate fees were raised during this administration. So once more, I'll get back to what my one note thing is, we will not have the $100 million bond issue to build a new city hall, to build a new Riverfront Parkway and everything. That will be stopped, and what we'll start to do is begin to pay the debt down, the $200+ million debt that's draining interest, and our children will be paying for this. We need to think about our kids. Thank you.
Mr. West.
Well, it was presented to council by our assistant CFO that since 2011, and that's as far back as he went, is every budget since 2011 that's been adopted by our council has been a deficit budget by what has been stated. I'm going to point out that we have reserve funds, and as they've been talked about, in our three different, and we have different funds for different balances. We've got our water utilities, our solid waste, and our general fund. We're required to have $44 million by charter in reserve for those three accounts. We currently have $66 million. That's $20 million surplus above what is required. When people talk about not wanting to cause concern, I have no problem spending more of that $20 million. You know how many times we got into our reserve with COVID and Harvey? Never. We hadn't gotten into our reserve. So what is the purpose of not spending our $20 million on needs for these residents and our taxpayers?